Good Saturday morning. Welcome to the Voice of Ocala's Saturday Sports page. It is a derivative of the Voice of Ocala. I'm Tom Schmitz, your host, every Saturday morning with you. It is Daytona 500 weekend. Speed weeks will wrap up tomorrow at the Daytona 500. We'll have that race live for you right here on WOCA. Galen Unall will be broadcasting live from 10 to 12 before the race tomorrow from on top of the Sprint Fan Zone. Make sure you check that out. Galen Unall will have all the latest news and updates from NASCAR trackside, actually above the track, right above the track at the Fan Zone. Great spot, usually right across from Danica Patrick's hauler. I don't know if she's parked in the same spot, but if she's parked in the spot she's been in the last 3 years, it's right across the street from, right across the way from Danica Patrick, sitting on top of the garage. The Sprint Fan Zone is the roof on top of the pit road garages. And that's where Galen will be broadcasting from live tomorrow from 10 to 12. And then we'll be able to we will have the race for you right here on WOCA following that. It's supposed to be sunny, 81 degrees at race time tomorrow. And I'll tell you, I usually go over and do the coverage. Last 3 years I've went over and done the coverage. And in 3 years we've had 3 rain delays, one to the point where the race had to be run on Monday. You all remember that, 2012. That's when Juan Pablo Montoya wrecked into the jet dryer. The race was won, of course, by Matt Kenseth, but nobody remembers that. All anybody remembers is that Juan Pablo Montoya ran into the jet dryer. So I've been over there 3 years in a row. Every time I go over, it rains. There's delays and everything. I don't go this year. It's sunny and 81. So maybe I am the problem. I could quite possibly be the problem. I don't know if I'm the problem, but, all I know is it's rained and we've had delays the last 3 years. This year, there's no rain. There's no delay. Draw your own conclusions. But it seems like it's probably better the way they have it set up now with Galen going, because now it's sunny and no rain in the forecast. NASCAR, though, some news out of NASCAR. Last night, this broke about 18 hours ago. NASCAR has suspended driver Kurt Busch for an indefinite period of time. He will not be in Sunday's Daytona 500. That's pending an appeal. This is the NASCAR release. Given the serious nature of findings and conclusion made by the Commissioner of Family Courts in the state of Delaware, NASCAR has indefinitely suspended Kurt Busch effective immediately. He will not be allowed to race nor participate in any NASCAR activities until further notice. Busch will appeal this decision, but Regan Smith has been named as official replacement and will be in the seat Sunday during the 500. Busch's attorney, Rusty Hardin, said in a statement, "We are extremely disappointed that NASCAR suspended Kurt Busch, and we plan an immediate appeal. We assure everyone, including NASCAR, that the actions against Mr. Busch will turn out to be a travesty of justice, apparent to all as this story continues to unfold." As you all know, the last 6 months of Kurt Busch's life, he drives for Stuart Haas, by the way. He's been in a dispute with his former girlfriend, Patricia Driscoll. The event that they've been in dispute about was an incident at Dover, Delaware last fall in which Busch allegedly choked Driscoll. During that incident on September 26th at Busch's motorhome, Busch claims he simply cupped her head and struck her head by accident, while Driscoll claims she was choked and thrown into a wall, busting the wall. In a subsequent protective order hearing, Driscoll said and Busch threw increasingly severe charges at one another, with Busch saying Driscoll claimed she was a trained assassin. In the end, the court sided with Driscoll, approving a protective order against Busch. Still unresolved are criminal charges against Busch. Local police have completed the report, but no charges have been filed. Busch's attorney fought back on Thursday, seeking to reopen the protective order and charging that Driscoll had perjured herself. Kent County Commissioner David Jones released a report that indicated Bush's actions on that occasion constituted conduct that a reasonable person would find threatening or harmful. This is what the court released. It reads in part, the court is satisfied that the evidence presented at trial established there is more likely than not, the respondent committed an act of abuse against petitioner by manually strangling petitioner with his left hand on her throat while placing his right hand against her chin and face, causing her head to forcefully strike the interior wall of the respondent's motorhome, thereby recklessly causing physical injury to petitioner and recklessly placing petitioner in reasonable apprehension of physical injury. The court further finds that the respondent's actions on that occasion constituted conduct that a reasonable person would find threatening or harmful. So basically, NASCAR suspended Kurt Busch because his ex-girlfriend was able to get a protective order against him. That there was enough, the judge says that he saw enough there to think she could be in danger. So she got a restraining order, basically a protective order against Kurt Busch. No charges have been filed, no criminal charges, nothing, just a restraining order, a protective order. And NASCAR has now suspended Busch indefinitely. Problem with that is Trevor Bayne, I believe it was Trevor Bayne a year and a half ago, beat up his girlfriend. Let me make sure I get the name right. It's got to be in here somewhere. Who's known for no. Well, I'll find that. I don't want to say who it was. There was another NASCAR driver. We'll just go with that. There was another NASCAR driver in recent history who beat his girlfriend up and didn't face this kind of sanction. But now with the Ray Rice situation in the NFL and all, there's zero tolerance at all to professional sports levels. Do I think Kurt Busch should be suspended indefinitely? If a judge says there's enough to get a protective order, that means Kurt Busch did something violent with enough violence or with enough action to scare this woman, and a judge agreed with her. So he should face something. But he hasn't been charged with a crime. He was not arrested. There's no civil litigation going against him at this time. I don't want to say he shouldn't be suspended, because if he put his hands on a woman, he should face whatever penalty NASCAR deems necessary. And what I don't like about this is the wording of it. It seems more likely than not. What does that mean? It seems more likely than not. I just, the wording of it makes me a little iffy. More likely than not. Doesn't say definitely. Doesn't say he did. It said, he probably did. We think he might have. That's what more likely or not seems to me. But that's what's going on in NASCAR. That'll be the talk of the day today leading up to the race and all. Is Kurt Busch suspended indefinitely for actions that more likely than not committed. It says Kurt Busch, more likely than not committed an act of abuse against his ex-girlfriend. That's what the court's saying. That we don't know for sure that he abused his girlfriend, but more likely than not he did. How secure are you with somebody losing their ability to earn a living off of being more likely than not to have done something? That's what it boils down to. We're going to take a break. When we come back, try to join with Buddy Martin, try to get together with Buddy Martin to talk baseball, new rule changes in baseball. Plus, is the Florida Gator, they're just snake bitten this year in sports with football and basketball? We'll ask Buddy that. Later in the show, Franz Beard stopped by for his normal day on Monday, and we talked about the Florida Gator basketball program, plus the idea of freshmen not being eligible to play their freshman year, not being able to play in basketball and football. And now the Big Ten has said that they think it ought to happen in football. The Pac-12 says basketball. This thing seems to be getting some legs. You'll hear what Franz Beard had to say about it. All this coming up on today's Saturday Sports Page, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. We're live and local. The Source.
Time now to spiff up your bling for spring. Make your rings look brand new. Our master jeweler at Goss & Son will rhodium finish your rings for just $69.95, regular price $75. It's like waxing your car. It brings that shine back and looks all brand new all over again. So come see us. Our downtown location, Goss & Son Jewelers, serving you downtown for 65 years. Located next door to Silver Spring State Park and a few minutes from historic downtown Ocala, our award-winning Holiday Inn Express Hotel and Suites of Silver Springs is the place to stay for a friendly, memorable, and fun experience. Enjoy our fast and free Wi-Fi, complimentary hot breakfast, and free parking. Whether you're in town for work or play, our friendly staff will make you feel right at home. That's the Holiday Inn Express and Suites of Silver Springs.
Proud sponsor of College of Central Florida basketball on WOCA The Source.
Let's give it up for old asphalt and a new pair of shoes. Let's give it up for a good rhythm meeting a sweet melody. For a church cookout under clear skies. Let's give it up for good things coming together, like bundling your auto and other policies together with an Allstate agent, which can save you time and keep you better protected. Let's give it up for good.
To receive your comparative insurance quote, contact the McDonald Agency at 622-2333.
Guy Harvey Checking is now exclusively available at Gateway Bank. With Guy Harvey Checking, you will receive Gateway's premium checking account plus several other Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation features, including membership to the Guy Harvey Hammerhead Nation, free Guy Harvey t-shirt, and an exclusive Guy Harvey debit card. At Gateway Bank, we will make a $50 donation to the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation for every new account open. This is just one more reason why people choose Gateway Bank. Sign up today for your exclusive Guy Harvey Checking account with Gateway. Details available at gatewaybankcfl.com, member FDIC.
Hi, this is Randy Briggs of the Briggs Law Firm. My son Bo and I practice exclusively in the representation of accident victims. And we've been asked many times why we would support and sponsor the program Ask the Cops with Sheriff Blair and Chief Graham, who are in the world of criminal law enforcement. Well, these legal rights actually overlap. In civil law enforcement, we're in the business of recovering for victims of accidents that which has been taken away from them and holding the responsible party accountable. Both civil law and criminal law share those common goals. So we're all in the field of law enforcement, and for that reason, we're proud to sponsor Ask the Cops on the Voice of Ocala with Buddy Martin. So if your family or a friend needs help in an accident situation, feel free to contact us at our website, The Briggs Law Firm. We're located in the Ocala Historic District.
Welcome back to the Saturday Sports Page. Let's go right out to the phone lines and talk to Buddy Martin. Buddy, we were talking about, good morning, by the way, first off. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. I'm a little confused. I'm not getting game day on ESPN here this morning. Oh, wait a minute. That's over.
Oh, yeah.
I just got to reading an article about that, the changes there, and about the $9.95 buffet, like Golden Corral. You know how that goes?
Yes.
Just all day eating. And anyway, I did a little column on Southern Pigskin. A way of just sneaking that a little bit to it is plugging in my column on the ESPN's football $9.95 buffet has changed the menu.
It has changed the menu. Drastically, by the way.
Yeah. So,
Buddy, last night it broke at the up in Daytona that Kurt Busch was suspended indefinitely for what a judge has deemed. Let me give you the way they read it. That Kurt Busch, more than likely than not, committed an act of abuse against his ex-girlfriend. So NASCAR suspended him indefinitely. Are you okay with that suspension off of more likely than not?
I have to ask you this question. If it hadn't been for Ray Rice, would he have been suspended?
Not a second.
Okay. That's the age we live in, which is a good, by the way, a good thing, not a bad thing. And, you know, for years and years, there's been this ongoing debate. I must have written 15 columns about it. One day, with what a person does in the arena or on the field in terms of physical violence, and that could be culpable and tied into someone who's a violent person, you know, off the field. I don't know if that day will happen, but certainly what has happened is that what they're doing in their own lifestyles and domestic lifestyles is impacting what they're doing on the field, because the commissioners, owners, the presidents of leagues, they have to deal with this because the court of public opinion has spoken. So now it's become a PR image thing, which I guess can be looked upon as a good thing, that because let's be honest, public pressure is what changes things. So I think this is what you have to do today. If you have someone who's been, I'm not sure. I guess he's only been accused, right?
Right. He's not even been accused like criminally or anything. This was just a hearing to get a protective or restraining order, and the judge said that evidence presented to them makes it more than likely than not that Kurt Busch committed an act of abuse. So there's a protective order being given.
Well, I don't know about that, because if that's the policy, what is NASCAR's policy? We went down this road of the NFL last year.
Well, a year and a half ago, their policy was they had a driver beat his girlfriend up, and he sat out two races. Excuse me.
Yeah, there you go. You know, that's about it. Okay, so now what we wanted in the Ray Rice case, Adrian Peterson case, is just consistency. I think the bar has been raised on that, don't you, in terms of what they will tolerate and what they want. But what is the policy? So it's hard for me, sitting back in this position, and for you to know, okay, did this follow the guidelines of the policy? And, you know, it isn't like we can say anymore, make a judgment on what's right and what's wrong, because that ship has sailed in our society. Seems like that's not even an issue for most business decisions, professional sports. It's what's the policy? So it seems as though if that is I'm not defending Kurt Busch, but then again, has he not been convicted? Has he not been charged? I don't understand exactly.
He's not been charged with anything. There's been a criminal investigation, but no charges have been filed yet. There's nothing going. This was literally just a hearing to grant a protective order. And the wording, this is what the court said. The court is satisfied that the evidence presented established that there is more likely than not that Kurt Busch committed an act of abuse against his girlfriend.
Yeah, well, is this a Supreme Court ruling or just a local judge? Come on.
I understand. The problem is, and I think you're 100% right, buddy, is policy. The problem is, I don't think that any of the sports leagues really had a policy concerning domestic abuse, because I didn't think they thought it was that important.
That's exactly what I'm getting at. So now maybe that has been changed.
Well, which is a good thing, by the way.
Yes, it is. And the problem is that Kurt Busch has kind of got a little track record with his anger and stuff, you know?
He does have anger issues. He does have anger issues.
No. And so I think he's like people look upon him as a ticking time bomb sometimes, thinking, oh, what's he going to do next? And then, God forbid, if he was to do something to this woman, then where will we all be saying, what were we thinking?
Right.
Why didn't we deal with this when it was in its infancy?
Well, my question to that is, though, now clearly visible on Thursday night, Danica Patrick with two balled-up fists got in Denny Hamlin's face and punched him with two balled-up fists repeatedly in his chest while arguing with him. Should Danica Patrick face some sort of penalty?
No, that's happened all the time in NASCAR.
That's
give her a fine. Give her a $10,000 fine and move on. Look, let's be honest. You think she could beat him up physically? Denny Hamlin, was he intimidated? Was he in danger of being physically injured? Come on.
But if the policy is, if you're going to do something violent, that was a violent act she portrayed on Denny Hamlin.
Tom, if that was you and you were Denny Hamlin, would you consider that a violent act?
I'm not saying what I would consider a violent act. I would say punching someone in their chest is a violent act.
Yeah, not with what you used to have fist fights on the tarmac. I mean, out of court for crying out loud.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm just showing. My point is, Heather Solo is out of.
I know.
You know, Heather Solo beat a person with a metal pole, and
different deal.
And she hadn't faced any repercussions over that.
Well,
I think there's a double standard. I think that women, men are seen as abusive to women. I don't think that it's the same. That it's not seen the other way around.
But Tom, you have to understand there has to be some kind of judgment made here. If a 10-year-old boy attacks his dad and punches in the mouth, would that be domestic violence?
No,
you got to remember,
no, of course not.
A 10-year-old boy is not capable of physically hurting him. I think you have to make a judgment on something like that. And of course, there should be rules for all, but I think we're getting a little. This is the problem. The lines have been so blurred now.
This is the problem.
Right,
policy, exactly.
We have no We have no room for judgments.
Right.
But you have to have policy, which in turn that means you can't make a judgment. So it's difficult.
Yeah, that's my point is, do you make a judgment or do you have a policy? Because if you have a policy, the policy has to be adhered to by everyone, and you can't use judgment.
Policies make farce out of what's right and what's wrong sometimes. But anyway, yeah, I think each case has got to be considered differently. Here we are on the eve of the Great American Race, talking about Danica Patrick punching Denny Hamlin in the chest. And come on.
And Kurt Busch more likely than not causing harm to his ex-girlfriend.
Well, and then of course the fact he's from the race, that is a news story. But why aren't we talking about Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt right now? Dale Earnhardt, had a nice win. He and his dad now have the record, I think, for the most wins at Daytona together. And you're talking about Jeff Gordon, who used to be the most popular driver out there. Now making this is his swan song. He's done. He's got the pole. Isn't that a story? There's so many other stories that seem to be more important than Danica Patrick punch. If she was just Joe Blow, nobody would. Well,
care. And that's my point exactly. Here we are with two great stories: Jeff Gordon in his swan song year, Dale Earnhardt, him and his dad most wins. Now Jimmy Johnson winning a duel. Great stories there.
And Jimmy Johnson. Yeah,
great stories there. And the only thing that is controlling the story today, what's being talked about, is Danica Patrick's blow up against Denny Hamlin and Kurt Busch and this protective order. What's that say about where we are?
Media. Thank you, social media. That's what's driving too many things and driving people crazy in the sport. I love social media. I go on Facebook and Twitter, as you know, every day. And I get it, but social media is just little clips, little bits, little touch, and it's not the complete story. And it's people titillated and interested and emotional and whatever. So as a result, what stories do we see the most of? The emotional ones, the ones that have some kind of controversy and outrage. And that's what's driving the ship today.
That is what's driving the ship. Let's switch gears, buddy, to Major League Baseball and some changes that were announced yesterday. That I think baseball pitchers and catchers are reporting, buddy.
I know, I saw it.
Major League Baseball and the Players Association announced Friday that they've got some new rules to enforce try to quicken play. Batters must keep at least 1 foot in the batter's box and in between pitches. They're going to post stadium clocks timing pitching changes in between inning breaks. They're also no longer, the manager will not be required to come on the field to request a video review by umpires. All that at the major league level, and then they announced at the minor league level, they're going to test the 20-second pitch clock to make a pitcher pitch the ball in between pitches, only get 20 seconds. And then if that works, they'll move it to the major leagues. David Price led the league last year in most time between pitches, 26 seconds in between pitches. If you eliminate all the pitches he did, that would save 11 minutes of a game, buddy. Do you think this is the right step baseball's doing?
Well, it's never been a game that can work well on the clock. I get that. And they've tried these measures for the last 40, 50 years. They've tried things on. And somehow or another we get back to the same old thing. And, let's be honest, the batting glove thing drives us crazy.
crazy.
Stepping out, adjusting your gloves, every single pitch, because some kids saw it happen 25, 30 years ago and thought it was cool, and he copied it, and he did it, and somebody else does it. I mean, come on. You don't have to adjust. You got to, if you want to step out and get a sign, but when you start with that batting glove garbage, that's what's hurting the game. Look, we have a shot clock in basketball, right? We have a clock in football. There has to be some kind of time constraints on pitchers and batters. I applaud Major League Baseball's effort, but they got to do something because their game is passing the world. People are just going past baseball. They're not watching it like they used to. They're not going to the stadium like they used to. They got to do something to change their game. I wish them the best, and I hope they're able to do it. I got my doubts, Tom.
25 years ago, a game averaged 2 hours and 31 minutes. Last year, a game averaged 3 hours and 9 minutes.
That's amazing.
That's an increase. That's an increase.
By the way, that's 162 times.
That's an increase of 38 minutes per game.
Yeah. That's
time 162. That's 81 hours increased per team.
That's probably pretty much close to a small. That's almost half a season for some people.
81 hours, and you got 32 teams. That's over 2,000 hours, which is over a full-time year of work at an 8-hour work week.
If
How about
a football
that?
game is 4 hours, let's say, and you play 15 games, do the math.
15 times 4,
4-hour games,
60 hours.
That's 20 games. Is that not 20 games in football?
Right. It's 80, 20 football games. Yeah.
So they're playing 20 football games
Extra.
Just wasting time.
Yeah, they're playing 20 football games extra than they were in 25 years ago. They got to do something. I'm not sure the clock on the pitcher is the right thing, and I'll have to see how it works. But I'm sure there are people who thought the shot clock in basketball wasn't a smart thing either, and the play clock in football wasn't a smart thing either when it was first introduced.
Right.
They got to do something. You're right, but they got to do something to get people under the age of 50 to start watching again.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Under the age of 70, probably.
Yeah, because I don't watch. I used to watch baseball religiously, and now it's on in the background. But I can't tell you the last time I sat and watched a baseball game on television. Couldn't begin to tell you.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Here's the other thing. Think about this. For the same reason, I know you got to go here, but for the same reason, among other things, is that golf is taking so much time to play now, and it's for some people so expensive. And it's getting to a point where Michael Jordan says he's building his own golf course.
Yeah, he's going to build his own golf course because he too slow play.
Yeah. And by the way, he can play the best clubs in America, and there's not that traffic. Imagine the poor guy playing a municipal golf course.
Look, I have a 12:45. I have a 12:45 tee time today at Ocala Golf Club.
Nobody's going to be out there. Nobody's going to be out there today.
Place will be packed.
You think?
It'll be packed today. The snowbirds are still in town. It's going to be 70 degrees, 65, 70 degrees today.
Okay.
It'll be packed. I got a 12:45 tee time. I've already resigned myself to I'm not getting off the golf course till about 5:30.
Okay. Now, think about you're a busy man. You work all the
4.5 hours.
You either work at a show every day, or you're working the Terminator at night. You're a busy guy. You're working sometimes in the morning, a lot of times at night. That's a big chunk of your time for golf, Tom.
It is almost 5 hours of my day that I have just to play, to enjoy myself playing golf. It's going to take 4.5, 5 hours when I can literally, if I have no one in front of me and I can play 18 holes of golf, I can shoot. I average about 84, 85 is what I shoot in golf. I can literally play an 18-hole golf course and shoot 84, 85 with nobody in my way in about 2 hours and 20 minutes. So they're literally holding me up 2 hours.
Tom, think about this. You said I'm going to play golf and enjoy myself. There's no guarantee that'll happen either day.
No, because I get really frustrated. With slow play. Buddy,
I hope you do. I hope you have
one more question before I let you go. LSU, Florida plays LSU today in basketball. Is the Gator season, is it time to just start seeing what you can get out of kids off the bench and everything and think about next year?
I don't think Billy will do that completely. I think he'll play him more often. He kind of did that last week in the last win of Vanderbilt because he didn't have Finney Smith and Frazier. Now, Frazier's back. And I think he saw some things in that game that were promising. The young players stepped up at the end. Devin Robinson made a huge dunk. So I think we're seeing some of that now. But no, Billy wants to win every time out. I think today we're going to see it's going to be about an easy game for them. But they've got to eke out a win someplace besides. They got to play Kentucky more than likely twice, you know. And you know we're looking at maybe 15 or 16 wins this season. By Billy Donovan's standards, that's low. He wins 20 every year. He's not going to the NCAA tournament. He might go to the NIT, and he's going to have to go back in and redo this thing and have a do-over and figure out what kind of players he's got and what kind of players are coming, because clearly this guard play has been horrible, and he has no big man in the middle, and guys are missing foul shots like crazy. So that's a bad combination. Finally, he got some spark out of his young guys at the end last week against Vanderbilt, this week against Vanderbilt. We'll see what happens, but no, I don't think Billy Donovan throws the towel in yet.
Buddy Martin, every day you can hear him on the Voice of Ocala from 3 to 6 p.m. Right here on WOCA, Buddy Sports Page, 5 to 6 every afternoon. And, Buddy, if they want to go read these columns you keep alluding to, where can they find those columns?
SouthernPigskin.com.
The Martin, what's it called? The Martin Chronicles or something?
The Martin Chronicles, that's correct.
Yeah, the Martin Chronicles.
$9.95 ESPN football buffet. Here we go. And, you know, what do you think of the fact that you won't be waking up in the morning to have your bacon and eggs with the same guy you've had all these years, Chris Fallon?
Oh, I thought you were going to say that they finally retired Lee Corso. Dadgummit.
I hope Lee hangs around just a little bit always.
Well, you know,
a couple bit.
You know, the first time since 1979, Dickie V wasn't at Duke for the Duke Carolina game. How about that?
You know, and I think I watched time. There's difference in Lee Corso. He's got a cameo appearance, and he puts the headgear on. That's a big part of that thing. But I can't take Dickie V for a whole basketball game. I'm sorry.
Not anymore.
He's had a great run. He really may help college basketball's popularity. He brought his style and whatever. It's not there. Dickie's got to do something else, and he just can't do a full game. It's too annoying.
It is. Buddy Martin, check him out at southernpigskin.com, the Martin Chronicles, or every day right here on WOCA for Voice of Ocala and Buddy Sports Page. Thanks for taking time out with us today, buddy.
Have a good round of golf, Tom. Enjoy.
Thank you. Buddy Martin, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Franz Beard joins the show from an interview I had with him earlier this week talking about Florida basketball and eligibility requirements for freshmen. You'll hear that next right here on Saturday Sports Page, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. We're live and local. The Source.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And so is State Farm agent Angie Lewis, working hard to serve her community as a citizen and insurance agent. Angie wants to help you as you adjust your insurance needs to your life, from everything to helping educate your teen driver to protecting your family against everyday risk. She wants to change the way you perceive insurance by developing relationships with her clients, which is why Angie and her staff are proud to be a part of so many good causes in Ocala. In turn, she has chosen to single out those who step up as leaders. Each month on the Voice of Ocala, Angie spotlights a good neighbor, saluting those who give exceptional service or do random acts of kindness to others. For this, Angie was written up in State Farm's National Magazine. Angie also supports local businesses with a regular Biz Buzz.
Hi, I'm State Farm agent Angie Lewis. Come see me and my team for all your insurance and financial needs in the beautiful downtown historic district, 416 East Fort King Street, or call 291-2444.
Hi, this is Buddy Martin. If you have an award or a trophy in your house, there's more than a good chance it came from BJ Trophies Gifts and Awards. At BJ Trophies, Floyd Hirschberger and his staff have a lot more than just trophies. Among the items they specialize in are donor recognition walls and trees, personalized or engraved gifts, cast bronze dedication plaques, wide format digital printing with posters, banners, and signs, and promotional products. Floyd is the official trophy and awards maker for the Voice of Ocala radio show and is North Central Florida's leader in custom recognition programs, corporate awards, industrial engraving, unique gifts, and advertising specialties. When Angie Lewis went shopping for something to award to the winners of her State Farm Good Neighbor Award, she shopped first at BJ Trophies Awards and Gifts. Check them out at 1735 Northeast Jacksonville Road on North Magnolia's Miracle Mile, or call them today at 352-732-2249. BJ Trophies Awards and Gifts. Trophies is just our middle name. Does osteoarthritis bring frustration with every step? Do pain and stiffness affect your everyday activities? If so, you may be interested in a research study for the treatment of pain associated with osteoarthritis. Renstad Medical Research is conducting a research study of an investigational medication for individuals between the ages of 40 and 75 and who have been treated for the pain associated with osteoarthritis for at least 3 months. Qualified participants will receive study-related medical care and investigational medication. Compensation for time and travel will be provided. To learn more about this osteoarthritis study, please call Renstar Medical Research in Ocala at 352-629-5800. Again, that's 352-629-5800.
You're listening to WOCA, Ocala.
WOCA.
Welcome back to the Saturday Sports Page. On Monday, Franz Beard did his normal stop by, and I talked with Franz about the University of Florida basketball, plus the ineligibility, the rumors that the Pac-12 and now the Big Ten have come in and said they would think that the eligibility of freshmen should be where they're ineligible and they have to concentrate on academics their first year. That would help with the one-and-done rule in basketball. It would also make someone more mature and a chance to hit the weight room and a little bigger and stronger and faster in football. So I talked with Franz Beard about that. Here's what Franz Beard had. Here's what Franz Beard had to say about that, about those two subjects. Unanimous number one in the country, 25-0, 12-0 in the Southeastern Conference, the Kentucky Wildcats. Number two in the conference, the Arkansas Razorbacks. The reason that's weird to me, number 3, Texas A&M, number 4, Mississippi State, number 5, LSU, then Georgia, and you're still not to Florida yet. You got 2 more teams in front of Florida. Florida 5-7, 12-13 on the year, Franz. What in the world is going on in Gainesville?
Well, I think it has to do with a lack of leadership, and I think they lack that guy that wants to be the man. You know, when the game is on the line. You look at that game Saturday night against Texas A&M. You know, that's a game where a guy like Scotty Wilbekin wanted the ball. He wanted to take that last shot. You know, he was always ready to take that last shot, and he made big shots. You had guys like Casey Prater, not afraid to drive the ball to the rack, and if he got fouled, fine, he's willing to do that. This team doesn't have anybody. Casey Hill on that final sequence wouldn't drive the ball. Gets the ball out to Finney Smith. Finney Smith is covered, but he wouldn't drive the ball and try to get to at least get fouled. And you end up with Alex Murphy taking a shot, and he's not the guy to take the shot. I mean, this is the guy that comes off the bench. That's a big shot that should have been taken by a starting player. Eli Carter should have taken that shot, or else Casey Hill or Finney Smith should have tried to get to the rack. One of those 3 things.
This Florida team, 12-13 on the year, 5-7 in conference, they may not make the NIT.
No, they probably won't. And this is a team that, let's face it, they have lost 4 one-point games. You know, they have now played 10 games that have been decided by 7 or fewer points. They should be no worse, say, than 6-4 in those games. And if they were 6-4 in those games, right now they'd be sitting at 18-7, and everybody would have them going into the NCAA tournament when the season is over. This is a team that the only way they're going to get in the NCAA tournament is they're going to have to win the SEC tournament, and you know, there's a greater chance that water gets changed into wine before that happens.
Friends, at 12-13, they may not make the National Invitational Tournament.
Very, very slim chance that they'd make that. To make the NIT, just to make the NIT, I think, you know, they've got they are 5-7 in the SEC. That means they got 6 games to go. I think to make the NIT, they'd have to win 5 of those 6, and then say go 2-1 in the SEC tournament. So that would mean going 7-3. 7-3 would get them to 19 wins and still, a bad 16 losses. But because they're Florida and because they'd have a home game, they'd get in. But just the same, what are the odds that this team's going to go 5-1 down the stretch of the regular season? They got to play at LSU. They got to play at Kentucky. Right there are two games that you just don't want to even think about the Gators playing, because it's, they're both they're both on the road, and I don't know that Florida is going to beat either one of those teams on the road.
The only team that I think has fallen farther than Florida off of where they should be is Missouri. Missouri's always had a good basketball program, and to be in the basement of the SEC their third year in the conference is just amazing to me.
Well, that's what happens when you hire Frank Haith as your basketball coach. Yeah. Not only is he so slimy he could be on Nickelodeon, he's a guy that just absolutely runs the program into the ground. He takes over a program that's got good players and then leaves it in bad shape. And this is what he does for a living. And I can't believe that people continue to hire this guy. I realize he took a step down to go to Tulsa, but my goodness, I mean, he's still Frank Haith.
He is.
I would not hire him. I would not hire him. I'd probably go hire the girls' JV coach at Bellevue High School before I'd hire him.
Okay, let's change subjects for a minute, friends, but still talk basketball. I saw a report over the weekend that, the NCAA, the Power 5 conferences, just got greater power to set rules and to structure how athletics are going to be. We've talked about it ad nauseum on here. They told the NCAA, we're going to run football. Either get on the bus with us so you can run the rest of the sports in the NCAA in collegiate athletics, or don't get on the bus and we'll figure out how to get it done, but we're going to run football. Now it looks like they realize there's another money-making sport available to them. I don't know why they didn't say football and basketball originally, but the Pac-12 sent the following suggestion to the fellow Power 5 conferences. They want to address the one-and-done phenomenon in men's basketball. If the National Basketball Association's Players Union are unable to agree on raising the age limit for players, we should consider restoring the freshman ineligibility rule to men's basketball. One, is this a good idea? And two, do you think this will ever happen?
Number one, let's address number one first. It's a great idea.
I think it's a fantastic idea.
And it should be for all sports. The reason that everybody wants to say that the reason that they adopted freshman eligibility was because they said you had too many good players and why hold them back. That was not the reason. The reason they did it was because they wanted to limit the number of scholarships. And if you're going to have freshmen ineligible, that means you got to have about 110 on scholarship, because you got your freshman class there, and you're going to have your 85 still eligible to play. Who are sophomores through seniors. So the reason they did it was that it gave them the ability to cut down the scholarships down to 85, which is what they've got right now. So from a monetary standpoint, from a standpoint of would it be the best thing to do for freshmen in every single sport? Absolutely. Is it going to happen? Absolutely not. Great idea, though, but it won't happen.
Will they be able to, do you think they could do it just for basketball?
Well, I think there's a better way to do it for basketball, and that is for the NCAA. For the NCAA to come up with a set of guidelines that they're going to do, and basically put the onus back on the NBA. The NBA gets a free farm system out of this. That for which it pays nothing at all, and there has been someone who once said that what they need to do is they need to tell the NBA, you're responsible for half of every kid's scholarship. You pay up, and that might be workable. They could do the same thing for football too. look, this is one of these things that the NBA it just shows you they've got idiots in charge, because the Players Association ultimately has the say in this. Now, tell me something, Tom. Why would a veteran player, maybe in his 6th or 7th year, now the average NBA player plays, I think, something like 4.5 years.
Right.
Why would a veteran player not endorse turning that age limit to, say, 20 years old and making a kid go to school for 2 years? It blows my mind that they wouldn't do it, because this would extend the longevity of your veteran. I would think the owners would be all for it too. Would be all for it as well, because they wouldn't have to pay some of these outrageous contracts for these kids.
Well,
I would think that it would make plenty of good sense.
Let me point this out. We got about a minute and a half to go, friends. Let me point this out. That makes your point for you. The owners should want the age limit to go up, because who are two of the best players in the game right now? John Wall and Kyrie Irving. Because they would be just out of college, age-wise and abilities-wise. They got drafted, entered the league, and yes, they were able to contribute, but not major contributions. Now, with maturity and schooling and understanding of the game of basketball, they now are stars. They would, if they'd have stayed in college, I'd think they'd have come out as stars. It's watered down the college game. It's made the college game worse. And the NBA, it's given them far too many projects that they're having to pay lots of money to.
Well, I heard an NBA scout one day said, I thought I was through watching high school basketball, but now I go to NBA games, and that's what I'm watching. Essentially, that's what you're getting, because you're right. You get kids who average 5 points a game as a freshman in college, and they get drafted. I'm going to tell you something. If Chris Walker elects to go out this year, he will get drafted. Maybe not in the first round like everybody projected, but I guarantee he'll be a second-round draft pick. Why? Because they say, oh, look at all that athleticism and potential. Goodness, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I could potentially the roulette ball can potentially land on 11, and I can make a lot of money too, but I ain't betting it.
Well, I always have this dream that I'm going to wake up and my old friend Mitch Kupchak's going to call me up and tell me, hey, I heard you grew to 7 feet overnight. Come on out and jump center for the Lakers tonight.
Yeah, I don't think
it happened yet.
That's wine and water again, Franz. Wine and water.
I think it might have something to do with I'm 63 years old, too. So.
Franz Beard. That was Franz Beard. So Franz had some pretty good reasons why he don't believe freshman eligibility will be messed with. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up Saturday Sports Page, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. We're live and local. The Source.
Guy Harvey Checking is now exclusively available at Gateway Bank. With Guy Harvey Checking, you will receive Gateway's premium checking account, plus several other Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation features, including membership to the Guy Harvey Hammerhead Nation, free Guy Harvey t-shirt, and an exclusive Guy Harvey debit card. At Gateway Bank, we will make a $50 donation to the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation for every new account opened. This is just one more reason why people choose Gateway Bank. Sign up today for your exclusive Guy Harvey checking account with Gateway. Details available at gatewaybankcfl.com, member FDIC.
Nestled in the heart of horse country, just off I-75 exit 354, the award-winning and newly refreshed Howard Johnson Inn of Ocala invites you to pamper yourself in one of our comfy guest rooms. Enjoy our free and fast Wi-Fi, heated outdoor swimming pool, 24-hour fitness center, and our deluxe continental breakfast. Other on-site amenities include a restaurant, putt-putt golf, and a car wash. Go happy, go Hojo at the Howard Johnson Inn of Ocala.
Proud sponsor of College of Central Florida basketball on WOCA The Source.
Here in Florida, when you're looking to go to the beach, you've got hundreds of options. Theme parks, no shortage of options there either. But when it comes to home insurance, most companies have only one option. Allstate is different. Here in Florida, Allstate agents offer home insurance options from several companies, so they can help you get the coverage that's right for you. And they'll help you save on quality car insurance, too. For starters, safe drivers save 45% with Allstate. We Before you settle for just one option, talk to someone with many home and car insurance options. Your local Allstate agent. Are you in good hands?
Hi, this is Kevin McDonald, your local Allstate agent. To get your quote, please call us at 622-2333 or stop by one of our 2 Ocala locations.
Allstate has no financial responsibility to you for any home insurance policy you purchase and would not be responsible for any claims. Allstate does not make any representations or accept liability related to operations of home insurance companies, including but not limited to their financial conditions. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Savings vary.
Right on the southwestern corner of the square sits one of the finest dining establishments in Florida, Mark's Prime Steakhouse and Seafood Restaurant. Mark's offers big city dining amenities in a charming and small town setting. It's a rare treat to experience both the ambiance and the exquisite cuisine in a friendly atmosphere. Ocala's finest restaurant serves the finest beef, the freshest seafood, premium wines, and naturally fresh vegetables. From valet parking to splendid service, Mark's offers the complete package. Check it out today. Mark's Prime Seafood and Steakhouse Restaurant.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingram, CEO of Gateway Bank, the new old-fashioned bank. Let us introduce you to Okus, a simple way to bring your business online. Through this relationship, your business can have a fully functioning website in less than 30 minutes. We will also provide you support with social media, sales tracking, e-commerce, and online scheduling, which is all optimized for mobile users. Okus, now at Gateway Bank, Silver Springs Boulevard, Ocala. Come visit our technology center for your total small business solution. I'm Tom Ingram, and I'll see you there.
Welcome back as we wrap up this hour to Saturday Sports Page on the Daytona 500 weekend. Give you my pick for the 500 before the show's over. If you're a boxing fan, perhaps the most talked about boxing match in the history is finally set. Floyd Mayweather will take on Manny Pacquiao May 2nd in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand Garden in Las Vegas. Here's a fight 6 years too late. 2009, 2010, that's when this fight should have happened. Now they're both out of their prime. If Mayweather loses, he'll say, well, you know, it's because he ducked me for so long till I was an old guy. If Pacquiao loses, which he's done before, you know, well, Mayweather was supposed to win. It was a much better fight in 2009, 2010 when they were both in their prime, both undefeated. This ho-hum. And then there's called that the fight's going to go for $100 pay-per-view. I'm not paying $100 pay-per-view to see this fight. I'll watch it on YouTube next 2 months later or something. It's ridiculous. This fight's too late. Today, top 25 in NCAA basketball, Georgia Tech at number 15, North Carolina. That's a noon tip-off. Number 17, Oklahoma travels to Texas Tech. That's a noon tip-off. UMass at number 25, VCU, also a noon tip-off. Noon tip-off, Minnesota at number 5, Wisconsin. A 1 o'clock tip-off, Kansas State at number 20, Baylor. 2 o'clock tip-off, Miami at number 12, Louisville. 2 p.m., one of the better games of the day. It's going to be on ESPN. West Virginia, 23 at 22, Oklahoma State. Iowa State travels to Texas. Number 14, Iowa State travels to Texas. Number 19, Butler travels to Xavier. Number 6, Villanova is at Marquette. Number 10, Notre Dame at Boston College. Clemson travels to number 4, Duke. TCU takes on number 8, Kansas in Kansas. Number 18, Arkansas travels to Stark Vegas to take on Mississippi State. The Bradley Braves take on University of Northern Iowa silently at 11 in the country. Auburn, 7 p.m. tip-off, the sacrificial lambs for the UK Kentucky Wildcats. UCLA's a 9 tip against number 7 Arizona. And number 3 Gonzaga at 10 p.m. plays St. Mary's tonight. That's your top 25 in college basketball. Jeff Gordon has the pole. Jimmy Johnson sits alongside of him. Dale Jr. will be in the second row right behind them all. It's going to be a Hendricks race to lose. Don't ever count out Smoke in the 14 car. But I think one of the 3 Hendricks drivers, either Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, I think it's their race to lose. And I think that's the problem with NASCAR is we're going to say that a lot this year, that the big teams, it's their race to lose. And let's be honest, Hendricks Motorsports is the biggest team in the sport. It consists of Hendricks Motorsports plus Stewart-Haas Racing, because Stewart-Haas Racing, everything they run is Hendricks Motorsport cars. So it's a sad day in NASCAR. That's what it's gone to, that the individual guy can't or girl can't have a chance to win. Danica Patrick will probably have a strong finish, top 15. The one thing you know, there'll be a big wreck towards the end of the race. The last 30 laps of the race will take almost as long as the first 170 laps of the race. And I'm going to say right now that I think Hendricks Motorsport puts a stamp on Jeff Gordon's career. If he's up near the front, Jimmy Johnson and Dale Earnhardt will help him get to the lead, and Jeff Gordon wins the Great American Race live right here on WOCA. We'll be broadcasting. Galen Unal, he'll be broadcasting live tomorrow, 10 to 12, as we bring you the Daytona 500 right here on WOCA, The Source. For my guest, Buddy Martin, I'm Tom Schmidt saying have a great weekend, everybody.